President Bola Tinubu receives chartered bank executives, says Nigeria remains committed to a balanced approach to energy transition.
We have also identified a roadmap that includes integrating military, political and socio-economic strategies, enhancing cross-border cooperation.
Vice President Kashim Shettima emphasizes need for collective effort by leaders at all levels to overcome security challenges. NCDC activates National Cholera Multisectoral Emergency Operations Center in wake of increasing cases of cholera. Hello and welcome to the news at 11 on NTA News 24. We're reaching you live from Abuja. My name is Justin Bemunyi. President Bola Tinubu says Nigeria remains committed to a balanced approach to energy transition and still requires substantial investments in the oil and gas sector to meet the energy demands and economic needs of its population. The president was addressing the Group Chief Executive of Standard Chartered Bank, Mr. Bill Winters, and his team who visited him at the State House. President Tinubu called for a just energy transition that supports vulnerable communities across the nation. He said Nigeria, with the largest reserves in gas in Africa, does not want to go backward but forward, and welcomes deepened partnership with institutions such as the Standard Chartered Bank. President Tinubu also highlighted strategic projects across different sectors embarked upon by his administration to stimulate economic growth. He reiterated his commitment to sustaining ongoing economic reforms and measures to stabilize the economy. The bank CEO, Bill Winters, lauded President Tinubu's bold economic reforms, noting the international investment community's recognition and support.
We're very ready to support this. Standard Chartered made a commitment a couple of years back to deliver $300 billion of transition financing. Most of that will go into Africa, South Asia, and developing Asia, where we've been operating for well over 150 years. And the idea there is to provide some of the catalytic capital to help to really accelerate this transition. We recognize that the transition has to be a just transition, so that the people of Nigeria must continue to have the opportunity to develop. And that means an element of reliance on fossil fuels while at the same time investing in the transition. So these are some of the ideas and some of the concepts that we discussed with the President and with his climate advisors and Finance Minister and others. These are the opportunities of our time. We think that Nigeria is striking an appropriate balance.
Now, President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Mr. Olatunji Bello as the new Chief Executive Officer and Executive Vice Chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, pending confirmation by the Senate. Mr. Bello is a lawyer, administrator, and renowned journalist. He is the former Secretary to the Lagos State Government and holds a master's degree in international law and diplomacy from the University of Lagos. He studied law at the same university and was called to the Nigerian bar in 2002. Mr. Bello began his career in journalism at the Concord newspapers in 1985 and held the positions of group political editor, Sunday Concord editor, and editor National Concord. He is a winner of the U.S. Alfred Friendly Press Fellowship and was appointed chairman, editorial board of This Day newspapers in 2001. He also served as Commissioner for Environment under various administrations in Lagos State. The President expects that the new Chief Executive Officer will ensure the holistic realization of the Commission's mandate of protecting and promoting the interest and welfare of Nigerian consumers and ensuring the adoption of measures to guarantee the safety and quality of goods and services. Now, in a significant show of commitment to regional security, the federal government has reaffirmed its dedication to ending insecurity in the Northwest region. Speaking at the Northwest Peace and Security Summit in Katsina State, Vice President Kashim Shettima pledged the government's unwavering support for the region, urging stakeholders to work together towards a common goal of a peaceful and prosperous Northwest. Awal Haliru reports.
The summit, organized by the Northwest Governors Forum in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme (UNDP), aims to foster regional cooperation, strengthen security efforts, and promote sustainable development in the region. The Vice President's keynote address set the tone for the summit, which brought together governors from the 7 Northwest states and development partners. He emphasized the need for collective action to address the region's insecurity challenges.
We have also identified a roadmap that includes integrated military, political and socio-economic strategies, enhancing cross-border cooperation, investing in youth empowerment and education, strengthening local institutions, promoting inclusive dialogue, prioritizing prevention and resilience building measures, and engaging regional neighbors for support.
Governor Duko Umaru of Katsina State, who hosted the summit, praised the federal government's commitment to regional security.
We must act with urgency, determination, and unity of purpose. Let us build a region where every citizen can live in peace.
We are committed to ending this thing, and we are committed, and we are open, and we are ready for all possible collaboration.
We will be the ones to work for this and end these problems if we so desire. Nobody will come from somewhere to work for us.
The UNDP resident representative reiterated the organization's support for region's development and security efforts. She stressed the importance of addressing the root causes of insecurity.
The Northwest region holds immense potential for transformation as we navigate the challenges of fragility. The region, her people, and leaders embody the resilience, hope, and potential that needs to be connected to opportunity.
This inaugural Peace Summit is an important milestone for this collective shift and for moving the needle toward achieving not only peace and security, but in a broader manner, the sustainable development goal in Nigeria.
The summit will feature panel discussions and presentations on various topics, and participants are expected to share experiences and best practices, and experts to offer insights and recommendations. In Katsina, Awal Halaru, NTA News.
The Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, has again assured of combating all enemies of the state in line with the constitutional provisions, as the media have called for strategic and third-party communication, synergy and constant engagement in addressing some of the contemporary security challenges. This came to the fore at a round table put together by Development Specs Academy in collaboration with Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and other organizations. Haman Jabani reports.
The engagement with the theme Symmetrical National Security Challenges in the Army and the National Development is designed to strengthen public awareness about security challenges, project national interest in communication without propaganda, and define the roles of the citizens in supporting the military as collaborative efforts will help in addressing security challenges in the country. Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, is glad that the platform will provide a better understanding of the military's role in national security and address misconception about their operations while combating all enemies of the state in line with the constitutional provisions.
That is why the Army is open to ideas, is open to opinions from all segments of the society. The Army, it is the People's Army. We are working to bring about the peace and security that Nigerians yearn so much for.
We must continue, because the first issue is there is a problem. Once we recognize the problem, what are the solutions? And we keep on trudging ahead to be able to solve the problem ourselves. So the citizens must be carried along.
President Global Alliance, President NIPR, Development Spec Academy and other partners believe that telling your own story using a third party, understanding national interest reporting, and strategic communication by the Army are some of the ways to tackle the insecurity being faced.
The most powerful thing in the armed forces is communication. The most powerful weapon in the armed forces is communication.
When we don't take responsibility in whatever we are doing as we report our nation, we leave our nation vulnerable to the risk of assessment and perception by other nations.
Whatever we think is an interest, we inform them. That is no longer happening. That's part of the crisis. So the challenge is asymmetrical. A trained soldier has a target to shoot. Today, the target you want to shoot is embedded, it's part of the village, it's part of the community. And people in the community are helping them procure arms. It's asymmetrical.
They believe that by sharing experiences and achievements, the military can provide a balanced view of the nation's security challenges, and effort to address them can be in hand. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
A national cholera multi-sectoral emergency operations center has been activated in Nigeria as the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention confirms rapidly increasing cases of cholera with more records of fatalities, Lagos State being worst hit. NCDC Director General Dr. Jide Idris says Nigeria is employing a One Health approach in the national response to control the spread of cholera, with a wake-up call for governments at the subnational level to prioritize combat plans. This was at a news conference held at the NCDC headquarters in Abuja. Oluseyi Adeagbo has details.
Death toll in cholera outbreak and in the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention (NCDC) current statistics put the number of suspected cholera cases at 1,528, with 53 deaths across 31 states in 107 local government areas. Lagos State is the epicenter of the outbreak, with the highest number of cases, and with 15 other states of the Federation contribute 90% of the burden.
We urge those state governments to prioritize action for solutions that ensure access to and use of safe water, basic sanitation, and proper hygiene practices in our communities.
For the NCDC Director General, observations from the outcome of risk assessment engagement place the country at high of increased cholera transmission and impact, with a case fatality rate of 3.5% since the beginning of the year. Consequently, the National Cholera Multi-Sectoral Emergency Operations Center to coordinate national response has been activated.
The decision to activate the EOC underscores the gravity of the situation and our unwavering commitment to protecting the health and well-being of every Nigerian. The Emergency Operations Center will serve as a nerve center for the coordination of response across the country. It will also support affected states and local governments, facilitate rapid communication, data analysis and decision-making processes, mobilize resources, strengthen surveillance and diagnostic capacity and capabilities, enhance case management, training and intensify public awareness and community engagement activities.
Cholera is a food and waterborne disease caused by the ingestion of the organism Vibrio cholerae in contaminated water and food. NCDC says it has intensified sensitization drive, especially at the grassroots. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adeagbo, NTA News.
This is the news at 11 on NTA News 24. More reports after this break. Just stay with us. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunjiojo wants correctional centers in built-up urban areas to be relocated. This, he says, is to ensure better security management of the facilities. The minister was speaking during an inspection tour of the Medium Custodial Center in Kefi, Nasarawa State. Victor Azu reports.
The tour of correctional facilities across the country continues for the Minister of Interior. This time, his first port of call is Karshi, location of the ongoing Mega Custodial Center in Abuja. His body language suggests something isn't quite right, but he wouldn't say.
We have one or two observations, which of course I would not like to share in front of the camera. But of course, when we get back to the office, we will sit down as the ministry and the NCOS, we'll sit down together, brainstorm on solutions to some of the issues.
The minister's worries may not be unconnected with how to provide security for the 30th hectare space when work is done. In Kefi, Tunjojo was confronted by a familiar sight, residential buildings in close quarters with custodial centers.
This correctional center is arguably over 200 years, old. You can see houses, civilian houses, sharing fences with the correctional center here in Kefi. So it means that it's not sustainable. We have to think about relocation. We have to look at because of the effect of urbanization.
The minister is hopeful that when the facility audit is over, Nigeria will no longer need to maintain the more than 250 custodial facilities scattered across the country. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The organized labor says it is expecting President Bola Tinubu to still consult with different parties that made up the tripartite committee on national minimum wage before presenting a final figure to the National Assembly. President Nigeria Labour Congress Joseph Ajaero revealed this when a delegation from the Kogi State government visited the Labour House to clarify some labour issues in the state. Joseph Otsen reports.
At the Labour House is a delegation from Kogi State. The state has in the past had issues with organized labor over delay in payment of workers' salaries and was one of the states named by the Federal Ministry of Finance not implementing the national minimum wage. The delegation is here to clarify some of the issues and the present state of affairs.
I want to make it clear that Kogi State is paying 30,000 naira minimum wage.
Even the last salary, before Salah, they say they paid on 14th and all that. So I think it falls on the Kogi State government, to equally clarify this with the Federal Ministry of Finance.
The NLC President Joseph Ajaero used the opportunity to update the public about his position on the presentation of an executive bill on the new national minimum wage to the National Assembly.
We say this matter is being taken to the president. When we may have, that is, dotted all I's and crossed all T's, it will be taken for him and is expected for him, of him, to reach out to the tripartite people, not just labor, the employers, people representing government, to see whether they can build a synergy outside the negotiating table to come up with a figure that should be transmitted to the National Assembly. That's our position. Now, beyond that, the issue of the frequency of review is an issue. The issue of checking, market prices, the issue of checking inflation and all those issues, are some of the issues that were negotiated there.
Better labor-government relationship through continuous dialogue for these stakeholders is vital in addressing grey areas and preventing industrial disputes. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu extends his warm congratulations to his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, on his birthday. Gbajabiamila is an accomplished lawyer who previously served as the Speaker of the House of Representatives from 2019 to 2023. Owing to the quality of leadership and representation he provided for Surulere 1 Federal Constituency of Lagos State in the House of Representatives, Gbajabiamila maintained a perfect streak of re-elections across decades from 2003 until 2023, when he was appointed as the Chief of Staff to the President. President Tinubu joins family, friends and staff of the presidency to celebrate an exceptional leader on this special occasion. The President commends his Chief of Staff for his diligence, high sense of responsibility, patriotic zeal and commitment to the common good. President Tinubu wishes him many more years in good health and renewed strength in his service to the nation. You're watching the news at 11 on NTA News24. Here is a recap of our major stories. President Bola Tinubu receives chartered bank executives, says Nigeria remains committed to a balanced approach to energy transition.
We have also identified a roadmap that includes integrated military, political and socio-economic strategies, enhancing cross-border cooperation.
Kashim Shettima emphasizes need for collective effort by leaders at all levels to overcome security challenges. NCDC activates National Cholera Multi-Sectoral Emergency Operations Center in wake of increasing cases of cholera.
This is NTA News24.
Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima was Monday afternoon joined other prominent Nigerians in the funeral prayers for the remains of his late mother-in-law, Mariam Abubakar Al-Bashir, in Kano. She died at the age of 69 after a protracted illness. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, who arrived through the Malam Amin Kano International Airport, was received by Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, ministers and members of the Kano State Executive Council. He was thereafter accompanied to the residence of late Haji Mariam Abubakar Al-Bashir at Bompai, where family and friends were mourning her departure. An Islamic scholar, Ustaz Nuhu Enkaba, led the funeral prayers. Apart from Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibril, Minister of Agriculture, Abubakar Kyari, as well as federal and state lawmakers were also in attendance. Special prayers were offered for the repose of the deceased. Late Haji Mariam Abubakar Al-Bashir died at the age of 69 after a protracted illness. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Now, President Bola Tinubu condoles with Vice President Kashim Shettima and his family over the passing of Haji Mariam Abubakar Al-Bashir, his mother-in-law. President Tinubu described the passing of Haji Mariam as a deeply painful loss. The president not only mourns the deceased but also celebrates her legacies of philanthropy and good virtues. While praying for the repose of the soul of the late Haji Mariam, President Tinubu urges the family to take solace in the remarkable life the departed matriarch lived. And that concludes news at 11 on NTA News24. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Justin Bemunyi. Do have a wonderful night rest.